So hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Corporate Slave Learn from the Best edition. So I'm very lucky and very excited to talk to my guest today. Her name is Michelle Chua-Lagare. So she's actually been in the industry for a very long time. So she's tenured and she's very successful in terms of the QE or QE space. So Michelle, welcome and thank you for for joining me on this advocacy of sharing our knowledge. So to start, can you tell us about the industry that you are in right now?
So our space, good afternoon again everyone, and thank you again Chris for having me here. It's a pleasure to join you. So I'm part of the software development industry, specifically on the testing aspect. So wala siyang tawag for us in the Philippines na parang it's not really an industry on its own, but it's really under software development, specifically on the quality side.
Okay. So like, how did you get into that space? Like, is it something that you wanted to do starting out, or?
When I started, I was actually a software developer.
Okay.
And then in the same company, it's a software developer, technical writer, and then in that company, there's no other QA.
Okay.
So it became my focus. And for the next few companies, I also dabbled in business analysis, only to really find out that this is what I love the most, which is quality. Kasi most of the companies are not really focusing on quality, but as a user, I feel the user's pain when I use those applications. So it's like it started really as an advocacy, even before I started a specific quality engineering advocacy.
Wow.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. And like, in your career, how many years have you been working, and what industries that have you been involved with that you can remember?
I've been in the industry for 2 decades.
Okay.
And then for the industries, may healthcare, e-commerce, embedded systems. I've also worked with government,
Okay.
Telecommunications, research and development, among others.
Wow. So, but
Meron din kami, I've been under Medicaid,
okay.
Medicaid solutions development industry.
Okay.
So it's really a wide array of industries, especially for testers. We really cannot pick naman talaga. It's whatever is being developed. So we need to make sure that we can cover the quality aspect of those applications.
Wow, that's very good. And can you tell us a little bit about well, the company that you're currently in? So you founded this company. Can you tell us about the background? What made you well start your own company?
So prior to establishing QE360 in my company, I've been with Paymaya and Voyager, and that's when I started the advocacy of introducing a new breed of testers, which
Okay.
is the QEs. Basically, QEs are hybrids of manual tester and a programmer, so they
Okay.
can do both manual and automation. So it started as an advocacy sa industry community.
Okay.
I've already setting up monthly meetups to help manual testers transition to QEs.
Okay.
And then it actually started as a training company.
Okay.
And then, and then when the pandemic happened, when it started, I had to pivot to add a new service. Now, one, the physical training became online trainings.
Okay.
And then we also started the outsourced testing during the pandemic.
I see.
My challenge back then was like, how are people going to transition to remote testing, which is fairly new back then because
Yes.
no one wanted to do remote testing.
Of course.
So, but it paved way. The pandemic actually paved way to open the minds of companies kasi they're already doing remote work on their own.
Yes,
So
of
why
course.
not provide a remote testing service as well?
Okay. So your company provides remote testing, well, training. So are there like do you experience like any challenges with it being remote and not having like to do face to face?
Actually, the only challenge is that I cannot pop them when they feel sleepy. But kidding aside, basically the same.
Okay.
We utilize Zoom for our discussions, and then we have Google Classroom. So all of our materials and even the exercises are already online. So they can submit it even faster when now that we are doing it remotely or online.
Okay. Well, well, I've always been, of course, a fan of quality to make sure that applications that get out are fully tested and are approved by QA. So, well, with that said, for you, what is your definition of like a good quality application or good quality software for you?
Siguro, the name of the company would answer that because it's quality engineering for QE. But there's the 360
Okay.
because a lot of people who are transitioning to automation are calling themselves QE already. But then quality engineering needs to be embedded within the system development. So it's not just at the latter part of the development cycle.
Okay.
And then we also integrate the quality aspect for performance, security, usability, and others. So it's not just functional, but it's also easy to use and it's safe, and performance-wise, you don't have to wait for a long time for something to load or it crashes just because you keep on tapping on something. It's a holistic approach when we look at quality. So it's not just the functional side. It should be the entire gamut of your experience as well.
Okay. And like on your end, like what current tools can you suggest for like people who are manual testers? They want to transition to becoming a QE. Like
We usually recommend robot framework, which is or any other keyword-driven framework, automation framework, because it allows them to build the confidence in automating as they build their technical capabilities. Kasi automation is still programming,
Yeah.
but when you have those keywords, then you can use that. And then when you have other functions that you need to build, then by that time, you're already confident in doing some technical aspect, which is the programming.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good. And let's go to some of your activities. I also know that you do some community activities. There's a lot of things going on with QE sponsored activity. So, can you tell me some, like for example, like the rapid pass verification system? So, can you tell me something about the work that you did there?
So on top of the business, I also involve myself in community or volunteer projects such as Rapid Pass and Relief Agad, which are government projects that started during the pandemic. So that time, March, I think it's March 19, our the team, the DevCon team founded or started the government projects to provide solution. So first one is the Rapid Pass, because we know that there are people being stuck from provinces or people who are not able to go to hospitals from city to city because of the because of the length in having themselves checked and then being able to pass through the checkpoint. So that time it was a fun time. It took my mind actually out of the pandemic, but really focus on the projects. It's like 3 weeks straight of 4 hours a day sleep lang. But then it's very fruitful because we've seen how much people were able to travel because of the application. And then immediately after that, after the major release of Rapid Pass,
Okay.
I was already tagged by the head of DevCon to be
Okay.
the digital head of Relief Agad. I was like,
Wow.
I was like the test lead for Rapid Pass, and now the digital head for Relief Agad, which I didn't mind the title kasi everyone in that community, CTO, CEOs,
Yes.
they're all engineers during that time. Nobody had any title with them when they were working. So yeah, I really enjoyed that time, although it's very stressful
Yeah.
kasi we're always collaborating with the government, and then of course there are requests, there are changes, but it's all good, especially when we've seen that we were able to have for Relief Agad 4 million people
Wow.
to be able to immediately register and put them in the disbursement of the amelioration program.
Wow. That's
And on top of that, you've mentioned again, there's a community. I mean, there are several communities that I'm involved with, but
yes.
my own community that I've established is Keys the New QA. So,
Yeah.
as mentioned, its advocacy is really to help people address yung transformation challenges nila, address the transformation challenges from QA to QE, or even outside that, like agile testing, or mostly nga, what they keep on telling me is that, Ms. Mish, I'm the lone resource in the testing for these several projects. What do I do?
Oh no.
So, yun yung
Wow.
mga challenges. But it's all fun when we get to help this community.
Well, that's yeah. I agree. Well, in this day and age, like people helping out one another is really very good. Also, and like to get tips and tricks from other seasoned professionals. So that's really a good advocacy and community that you're running. Now, I want to step back. Like for people, like for example, college graduates or people starting out in their careers, like what advice or what tips can you give to them if they want to go into the QE or testing space?
For those who want to be quality engineers, of course, you still have this foundation of programming. So it's not something na just for manual testers. Or I don't also want to hear when people say, when they're applying to me, I want to apply for this position because I'm not a good programmer. I was like, no, no way. You still need your programming skills for
Okay.
you to become a QE. But the other aspect of that career is to have that creativity, so that you can see the quality of the application in so many different ways. So really, strengthen your programming skills and
Okay.
even kayo, for fresh grads, try to use applications and understand where are the improvements for that application, because that's where we really need to come from, yung user's point of view.
Okay. Well, that's very good advice. Now I know you have like a very long and well successful career. Was there a point wherein you think like you made like a mistake or one of your greatest career mistakes that you did, and how were you able to handle it, and what could you have done to avoid it?
Within the business side, I think the biggest mistake was um, when I wasn't able to draw the line immediately. So I had this in a consulting project. I have a client for 5 months. They were not able to pay me,
Oh,
and I was still giving services to them. So the lesson there is to draw the line immediately.
okay.
Like if they don't pay you within the month for the month service, then you need to stop the service until they get to pay you.
Okay.
It's good that because that time I need to help them. I see the teams are having great challenges.
Okay.
But then, of course, it's really demeriting the value that I'm giving them if you don't put that process now. We need to stop until this is paid.
Okay. Well, thank you. I
Kasi
think
business pa rin eh.
yeah, it's a business. I
At
agree
the end
with
of
you fully on that one. Now, well, going to let's say step back from talking about business and talking about QE, like on your end, can you give us like a quick day in your life? Like, how do you start your day?
Okay. Um, so every morning, I have a garden at the back of our house. So
Okay.
what I do is I go down and water the plants and pray during that time. It's like my quiet time.
Okay.
And then I eat breakfast with my husband, and then the day starts by connecting to potential clients or reconnecting with existing connections,
Okay.
because still this business runs through connections, and of course there are leads, but then it's always the referrals that are strongest.
Yeah.
So and then after that, I align with the teams on their projects, how they're doing, and see how I can help them if there's any need for that. So that's how it starts.
And well, for you, like I know this is like a cliche question, but what is it still that inspires you daily? Like, what drives you to still succeed even if you're well successful already in your career? So
Of course, aside from improving the state of my family and even my extended family, it's being able to to give an income to those who are to the Filipino testers.
okay.
And at the end of the day, I also want to see the Filipino testers as names being recognized in the global testing community. It's not just about where you are. Say the client is in the USA, that they will initially, of course, they will think that I will be hiring American testers. But
Yeah.
then if they know how great we are, then
Yeah.
it's an easy decision for them to hire Filipino testers.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate you being an advocate of Filipino talent. I think that's something that we should, as Filipinos, be proud of. That we can go toe to toe with all the nationalities, or all the race. Okay, so I think we as Filipinos are very skilled technically, and I've seen that well throughout my career as well, working with Filipinos. So I also will share your vision on that one. So on my end, like probably like second to the last question. So for you, can you tell me about your mantra for success, or what is your definition of success for you?
So, my definition of success is when we get to help our clients.
Okay.
When they see that the reviews on their application, say Google Play Store or App Store, that their application reviews goes up.
Okay.
And of course, for me to do that, we need to show excellence, integrity, and consistency. It's not just one project and then we're doing well, but then on the second project, it's not as good. So it's really about consistency.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. So I think, yeah, for my last question, I think if you had to choose, like, if you had a superpower, what power would you have and why?
I think this would be the ability to influence other people.
Okay.
A lot of people say in the for those who are fresh grads,
Yes.
like a lot of companies will be hiring experienced people.
Of course.
But then how would they get experience if you don't do? And the same thing with businesses. For small businesses, they need clients. But
Yes.
if big companies will only be thinking of, I should be hiring internationally famous companies or big names, then those little companies will not become big names. Yeah, so it's really about influencing people's mindset.
Well, thank you. That's very well said, Mitch. So, yeah, on my end, I really appreciate the time and, of course, the wisdom. And, well, I, of course, wish your company the best and, of course, more power to you. And I want you, of course, to stay safe and stay healthy and continue cultivating Filipino talents and continue advocating for Filipino talents and also nurturing well, the QE people to be the best versions that they can be. So thank you so much, Mitch. I appreciate your time. And is there any last words you want to say to our viewers? Or
siguro, aside from stay safe, make the most of what you can do during this time. This is something that I've learned during the start of the pandemic, that we don't have to be frontliners to be able to contribute at this season na it's all bad news everywhere, but we can be an instrument of change as well for the lives of other people.
So, thank you so much,
So,
Mitch. So, thank you for that. So, yeah, well, again, thank you and stay safe and have a good rest of your day. Thanks, Mitch.
Thank you, Chris. Bye-bye.
So there, thank you for watching another episode of The Corporate Slave Learn from the Best edition. If you like the content, please do hit like and subscribe to support my channel. And if you have comments or suggestions, I do welcome comments below. Or if you want me to share your story, please do reach out to me. And well, as always, stay safe and thank you and see you on the next video.